All right, Miles, so let's talk about the Detroit Lions a little bit. This Lions team has started the season pretty strong, especially on the offensive side of the football. They're 1-2. They're put up a lot of points. They're looking really good. But you have a story about a defensive player that's really jumped out and really made a big impact. And I know you have some specifics on that. But before we hand it off to you, Lions fans, we want to hear from you in the comments section below. What Detroit Lion through the first 3 weeks of the regular season has really jumped out at you and really made a big impact? Could be someone on offense, someone on defense, someone on special teams. Let us know in the comment section below what Detroit Lion you've been the most impressed with. But Miles, what's the latest with the Lions?
Yeah, Nick. So at the beginning of this season, all right, the Lions had two young corners, one coming back from a few injuries, and the other one relatively new to the team that we thought were hot, primed, ready to go to take the league by storm. One of the many, many things we thought helped make the Lions very good. One of them has had a bit of a slow start, not so great. The other one has been on fire, and that's none other than Jeff Okudah from Ohio State, 2020 first round, number 3 overall pick, a guy that had a lot of talent. Matt Patricia kind of made him look like a bum in that defensive scheme, kind of hung him out to dry all the time. But in this new scheme with the Lions, Okudah has gone off. And let me read you his stats versus some key receivers first 3 games. So week 1 versus Devontae Smith, very fast, very shifty Eagles receiver. 0 catches, 0 yards. Week 2 versus Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, his teammate at Ohio State. Another guy, very difficult cover guy. 2 catches, 22 yards. Finally, Justin Jefferson, a guy who went for over 180 yards first game of the season. Week 3, 3 catches, 14 yards. He is locking these guys down. His nickname, El Jefe, the boss, he is these guys work for him. He runs the show, okay? It's been extremely impressive to see so far. What do you think about Okudah's early emergence?
Yeah, sure. So defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, he's a guy who wants to play man coverage and he wants to blitz a lot. That's just his MO. And you look at the stats are showing that so far this season, they're following that to a T. According to 2021, they had man coverage. They ran man coverage 25% of the time. In 2022, they're running it 43% of the time. That's first in the NFL. Their blitz rate in 2021 was 26%. This year, it's 38%. That's third in the NFL. But they're not just blitzing and playing man coverage more often. They're actually performing better. They improved their yards per attempt at running man coverage by over a yard. They went from 28th to 18th. And when they blitzed, they improved it by even more, about 3 yards, going from 7.4 last year to 4.5 this year, yards per attempt, all those stats according to the Ringer. And the reason I bring this up, Mize, is because if you're going to play man coverage, and especially if you're going to blitz, which Aaron Glenn wants to do right now for the Detroit Lions, you need to have corners that will lock people up. They've had issues on one side of the field. They've had issues in the slot, but they haven't had issues with Okudah, to your point. He has been absolutely dominant. And this was a guy coming out of Ohio State that everyone was like, this guy has the physical tools. He's got the film. He's got everything you need to be a premier lockdown Revis Island type corner. He just needs to be a guy who just get on the field and he'll put it together. And so far, early in his career, he had some issues with that, mainly with injuries. Obviously, playing under Matt Patricia didn't help, but we're seeing it right now under Aaron Glenn and head coach Dan Campbell that Okudah is realizing his potential, and he's fitting exactly in to what Aaron Glenn wants to do for this defense. And if the rest of the pieces on this defense, especially on the back end, can start playing a little bit better, the Detroit Lions defense will improve overall because Okudah's just been an animal through the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I think a key for Okudah is to perform well in this next week's game. Coming up is a game against the Seahawks, battle of two 1-2 teams, a lot of stuff to prove out on the field. But the Seahawks have 2 very strong receivers, one in the shiftier Tyler Lockett, a savvy veteran who's also hard to kind of lock down. But also, one thing that people have said about Okudah is guys with a little bit of size may prove to be troubling for him. And who has more size than that of DK Metcalf? A physical specimen. This dude is a huge receiver. He's got a lot of straight line speed. So if Okudah can have a strong performance against those guys, I think this is going to be his notch into okay, this guy really is having a Pro Bowl level season. If he can lock down this 4th game in a row against 2 receivers, one guy who that everyone goalpost pushes. Everyone pushes the goalpost down a little bit further. well, can he do it against this? Can he do it against that? And I think this is a final boss, so to speak. He's gone against 3 really good receivers. DK Metcalf is one that would kind of round out everything for him, don't you think?
Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup to see what the Lions do defensively if they put Okudah on Lockett or if they move him over to Metcalf. Because like you brought up, he does better against the shiftier, smaller guys. Obviously, Devontae Smith, Justin Jefferson fit that kind of role. Metcalf is the exact opposite. Okudah didn't do a whole lot, didn't play a whole lot against AJ Brown week 1. So it'll be interesting to see if Aaron Glenn learns from what AJ Brown did to the Lions and move Okudah on him, on Metcalf, and see how that works out. I think that'll be something really to watch this Sunday. And if Okudah passes his test, like you said, that's a big measuring stick for him. But here's the thing about Okudah. As well as he's playing right now, Mice, I think he'd get even better. He doesn't have all the reps and all the repetitions that you need, all the game time, all the game experience that a guy in his 3rd year normally has. And Okudah mentioned this after their week 2 win against the Commanders. He said, quote, honestly, being in my 3rd year, I don't have that many physical reps. So I have to make up for it on the mental side. I don't have the luxury of not embracing that part of the game because I've got to catch up mentally in certain aspects. Here is a guy, Mize, that even though he's been in the NFL for a few years, really hasn't played in a lot of games. So while you're seeing what he's doing on the field for the first 3 games, as he gets better, as he gets more time on the field, he's going to get savvier, he's going to get smarter, he's going to get craftier, and he's only going to get better. So I'm really excited to see what Okudah is going to do both this week and going forward the rest of the year as he gets even more comfortable in this Lions defense.